Have you ever just felt like you're fighting your own body? Struggling with weight or fatigue or these crazy hormonal issues, and you just think, ugh, it must run in the family? Well, what if I told you it's not really your genes? What if it's a pattern, a story that's been passed down through generations? Let's get into it. This right here, this is a quote from a grandmother. It was her aha moment when she realized her own health problems were a perfect mirror of what her daughter and even her granddaughter were going through. It wasn't just getting old. No way. It was a shared metabolic struggle that was just hiding in plain sight. So to really understand this, let's dive into the story of a mother and daughter, Jennifer and Emma. Now, they came to a clinic thinking they had totally different problems, or so they thought. Okay, so on the surface, you have Jennifer, who's 47, dealing with all the fun of perimenopause. And then you have her daughter, Emma, just 23, with a PCOS diagnosis and heartbreaking infertility struggles. But just look closer. Unexplained weight gain? Check for both. Anxiety, brain fog, exhaustion? Check, check. They had different labels for sure, but their bodies were telling the exact same story. It's a story of a suppressed metabolism, where their bodies are just stuck in energy-saving mode, unable to run all systems the way they're supposed to. And here it is. This is the smoking gun, the one crucial piece of data they both shared, a consistently low body temperature. Jennifer's was 97.1, Emma's was 97.2. You guys, this is not a coincidence. This is a massive, flashing red light for a slow, struggling metabolism. And let me be super clear about this. This was not written in their DNA. It is an inherited pattern. Think of it this way. Emma's cells basically learned how to produce energy by watching and copying the environment created by her mother's cells, long before she was ever born. To really get how our modern world sets us up for this, we kind of have to look back. We need to look at the wisdom that traditional cultures had, wisdom that literally protected them from these exact problems. So back in the 1930s, there was this dentist, Dr. Weston A. Price, and he traveled all over the world and found that these isolated populations who were still eating their traditional diets were unbelievably healthy. I mean, we're talking perfect teeth, no chronic disease, and just incredible fertility and vitality generation after generation. But this timeline shows just how fragile that amazing health really was. Because when these groups started eating modern processed foods, sugar, white flour, all the stuff in cans, their health completely fell apart. And get this, it happened in just a single generation. That is how fast this metabolic betrayal can happen. See, these cultures, they knew something really profound. A mother's nutrition, both before she got pregnant and during, literally programmed her child's health for their entire life. They had special protocols, feeding mothers to be the most nutrient-rich foods you can imagine, all with the goal of building a strong, robust baby. This wasn't just superstition, it was generational wisdom. Now, let's pivot and see how our modern healthy advice, well, it tragically mimics one of the worst famines in recent history, and this is where things get really serious.
During World War II, there was a terrible famine in the Netherlands. Rations dropped to as low as 800 calories a day. The women who were pregnant during that time gave birth to babies whose bodies were programmed in the womb for a world of scarcity.
The effects were just devastating, and they lasted a lifetime. These children grew up with higher rates of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. But what's even more shocking? The effects were seen in their children, the grandchildren of the famine. A mother's starvation literally echoed for generations. Right about now, you're probably thinking, okay, that's a famine. That has nothing to do with me. But let's ask a really critical question here. From your body's perspective, what's really the difference?
And here is the absolute key takeaway. Your cells do not know why food is scarce. It doesn't matter if it's a wartime famine or a voluntary 1,200-calorie diet with a side of intermittent fasting. The metabolic signals, high stress hormones, a tanking metabolic rate, they are identical. And to a developing baby, the message is exactly the same. The world is unsafe, conserve energy, just survive.
This whole inherited pattern is so consistent, it's actually like a metabolic fingerprint that gets passed down from mother to daughter. And you can actually see the evidence in your own family. At Biospark Health, we've found that a staggering 89% of mother-daughter pairs have morning body temperatures within 0.3 degrees of each other. I mean, that is an incredibly tight correlation. It's basically proof of a nearly identical metabolic rates. This, right here,
is the essence of what we call metabolic inheritance. It's not about the genes you get, it's about how those genes learn to operate based on the cellular world they grow up in. A daughter's cells literally learn how to make energy from her mother's cells. Let's go back to that idea and look at the Chen family. 3 women, 3 different generations, 3 different diagnoses: osteoporosis, prediabetes, and PCOS. But look at what they shared: the exact same low body temperature and a lifelong history of chronic dieting. It was never 3 different problems. It was one problem, one root cause, just showing up in different ways as they aged.
Okay, now for the most important part of this entire deep dive. This is not a life sentence. This cycle absolutely can be broken, and it starts by rejecting the very advice that created the problem in the first place.
It's kind of crazy when you stop and think about it. So much of our modern prenatal advice, restricting calories, fearing carbs and fat, fasting, over-exercising, all of it actively suppresses a mother's metabolism. We are literally telling pregnant women to create the hormonal environment of scarcity that we know programs their children for a lifetime of metabolic struggle. So the solution is to do the complete opposite. It's a return to that generational wisdom. It means eating abundantly, prioritizing the right kinds of nutrients, managing stress by actually giving your body resources, and maybe most importantly, building a robust, healthy metabolism before you even conceive to create a true legacy of health. Remember Mei Chen from that 3-generation family? Well, this is her. After she worked to restore her own metabolic health, she was able to say this: "This is about so much more than just your own health. It's about the health of the person who comes after you." The cycle is broken. Now, this is not about blaming our mothers or our grandmothers. Not at all. They did the best they could with the information they had. This is about empowerment. You didn't create these patterns, but with this knowledge, you can absolutely be the one to finally end them. The health choices you make today aren't just for you. They are a message you're sending into the future. So the real question is, what will your metabolic legacy be? If you want to learn how to make it one of strength and vitality, you can explore Biospark Health's Women's Generational Health Program.